Hello, and welcome back to another podcast episode from Little Dagger Aesthetics called Unfiltered Tea Time. Um, so this episode is a Q&A for my relationship with my boyfriend Ethan, who is here today. Um, we recorded up until like episode we we recorded up until question 11, and my laptop shit itself and I lost a bunch of stuff and I couldn't get it back because the bot that we used to record on Discord deletes after 7 days, which is like fair. um so for the first 11 questions, we've already answered them, and they will not be like our first thought of answers probably. But it's still authentic and whatnot. And then for the other 10, like 9 or 10, they will be our first answers. But because of that, we've decided, instead of doing like a part 1 and part 2, that we are just going to do I don't know, an episode that's longer than usual. I want to say like an hour and a half. We'll see how close we get to 2 hours. But if you're listening to this podcast today, you are going to be listening for a while. So thanks for giving us your time. Anyway, I'm Michelle, CEO, founder of Little Dagger Aesthetics. My pronouns are she, they, and if you'd like to introduce yourself, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ethan. I'm the boyfriend of the CEO and founder of Little Dagger Aesthetics. My pronouns are he, him. And yes, I do more than just be a boyfriend, but for now, that is my title.
We love it. All right, so to dive right in, we're going to do the first 11 questions that we technically already did. So number 1 is, how did you guys meet?
Am I starting?
Yeah.
Okay. Work. We met at work. I was working at a coffee shop, and then you were working at a coffee shop that I was also working at.
That's a terrible explanation.
It's not though. I mean, that is how we met. I got hired by a company, a local Ottawa coffee chain, and I'd been working there for a couple months, I guess. And then you got a job there too, and you were the new girl, the cool new girl, and I was the long time employee who already knew how to do everything. And then you worked better than me. And that's how we met.
I don't think better than you. Maybe harder, but not
Maybe harder.
better.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take a victory where I can.
All right. Question 2 is, what was your first impression or thought of each other?
First thought or impression of you. Some of these answers will change from, the last time we recorded this, but this one won't, obviously, because how would it? You were quiet, but also not really. I just didn't talk to you. You weren't quiet. I was quiet, actually. You were loud.
I was gonna say, like the first day that I worked there, I was quiet because I was learning everything.
Yeah. Well, that was my first impression of you.
I guess, but like day 2, I was already like, I called everyone friends. I was like, come to my party. Like, I'm gonna have a birthday party soon enough. I have a housewarming. I was talking so much.
I did not go to any of those parties, just so everyone knows.
I was actually kind of sad that you didn't come to my birthday party.
I didn't know you very well.
I know, but no, okay. So we have to go back to this question because to justify that, my first impression of you was like, oh, you're very like quiet, sweet, nerdy boy.
You were edgy and kind of scary.
I'm not scary.
Well, you can be if someone's a dick.
I mean, that's just what's to be expected, though.
I bet you scare the hell out of bigots.
Maybe. But yeah, no, because I thought that, and I thought you were really, really cute. So I was like, I was talking to friends about this too, where I was like, oh, I'm inviting like coworkers to like my party, and I was like, they're like, oh, like, are you friends with any of them yet? And I was like, not really, like we talk or whatever, but it's just work. And I was like, but like, there are a couple of people that I would love to come, and they're like, who? And I'm like, I have my favorites, but like, I already thought like I wanted you to come to my party.
I mean, that's cute, but I don't know. I didn't know you. I don't make friends quickly, you know. You do, and that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's not, but like
I
I do
know.
not make friends fast.
Yeah, it took us what, like 8 months of me trying to start conversations with you for you to message me first once.
I don't talk to people, you know? Like I have a really hard time just like pulling out my phone and being like, I should talk to this person, or like seeing someone in person and deciding to like open my mouth and speak. Why would I ever do that? You know? I'm trying. I'm trying harder now, but it's slow going.
It's all good. Progress is progress.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3 is if you could both ask each other something truthfully without filter, what would you ask?
I don't know what I asked you last time.
I don't either.
Do you remember what you asked me? You
Um,
can start.
No, I don't remember what I asked you. If I were to ask you something truthfully,
Hmm.
um, oh, maybe I did ask you this because, okay, so the only question that's coming to mind is like, what is one thing about me that like, okay, no, it's gonna go on top of one of the other questions, so you might have to give two answers. But like,
Okay.
what is one thing about me that you don't like?
That I don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much about you that I don't like. I mean, okay, don't like or like dislike, because those are two very different things.
I don't. That's the same thing.
No, because if I don't like something, it means like I'm neutral about it, you know?
What?
Oh,
No.
yeah, because to like something is to feel positively about it. But if I don't like something, that doesn't mean I feel negatively about it.
I guess. Okay, well, either one, dislike or don't like.
Because there's nothing I can think of. I mean, I dislike, you know, that you beat yourself up so much. There's that. Like, if you want me to put out like,
Emotionally and mentally.
yeah, not physically. You're not sitting there like, you know, punching yourself in the face, but like metaphorically, sometimes you do. But like, if you want something that's like, you know, I'm not I'm not super gung ho, but it doesn't really get on my nerves. Um, I would say like I guess I want to stay up late more sometimes, you know? And you don't stop me from doing it, but I feel guilty when you want to go to bed early, you know what I mean?
But
And
that's not like. Okay, sorry, go on.
oh, I was just gonna say like it doesn't bug me because I also like going to bed when you go to bed, but it's like sometimes I want to be up till like 4 in the morning, just like playing games, you know?
I mean, that's fair,
I
but
miss
like,
those days.
I don't know. Last night we stayed up until 2.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, it was perfect. I appreciated that a lot. It was perfect. Yeah.
I just like, I don't like staying up if I'm not doing something, and most of the time I'm just like, I don't do anything.
Yeah, and I guess like the big thing, right, is I find that I mean I'm sure you find this too, but you know it's easier to fall asleep when we're both in bed.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna go lie down without me, you're just gonna be lying awake and sad for like 3 extra hours.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes I watch some cringy Facebook videos just to pass the time.
that's one thing I don't like about you. Those fucking videos suck, dude. I don't know how you do it. I sit there and I even just hearing them, I'm like, oh my God. Anyway,
I
that's
don't know,
funny.
they get kind of addicting. Anyway, back to the question. What do you want
Right.
to ask me?
I want to ask you, huh, hmm, hmm.
Oh, I do remember what you asked me.
Nah, don't give me any hints. You can answer that one as well if you remember it, but like I gotta think of one.
No, no, I won't. I'll tell you after like
Okay,
we.
okay. Um, if I could ask you one thing truthfully it would be uh hmm, hmm. At what age would you genuinely flat out want to get married? Like point blank.
Um,
Because you joke about it and you're like, oh, 20 years from now. And like, but like point blank, realistically, how long do you, or how old do you want to be when you get married?
throw a smiley face in the comments if you also have commitment issues.
Throw a thumbs up if you're good.
Um, okay, when I was younger, I always thought that I would want to get married at 25 because it just seemed like an age that I would have everything together and I would be buying my first house, being a little naive kid. Um, Genuinely, like, I still think late 20s to early 30s, like, my ideal age would be 28 because I just like that number as like we're starting like the late adult chapter of our lives. Um but I don't know because it like there's so many factors, right? There's like, actually sharing a life together, where we're going in life, financial stability, all of that. So like in an ideal world, um 28, but I don't know.
That's a reasonable number. 28 is I think kind of like the rough estimate of where I would want to be when I got married too, just because like it's not I agree. Like it's not you don't want to get married when you're like 40. I mean you can. There's nothing wrong with it. Let me clear that up. There's nothing wrong with getting married when you're 40, but like if you're with someone from the time you're 21, 22, ideally you don't want to wait 20 years to get married to them, right?
Yeah.
In most cases. And I think, like you don't want to rush it. You want to have, a ground to stand on. And I think that 28 is a good, realistic answer. So good, good, good.
hmm all right. The next one is, what's the nicest thing a friend has said about the other?
This one I remember my
Um,
answer to. You can go first if you want. It's up to you.
I remember like my answer, but there's so many compliments that people have said about you because I talk about you a lot and like I get worried sometimes. I think that I'm annoying because I'm like, "Oh my God, like do you know what Ethan did today or whatever?"
Uh-huh.
Um, the nicest thing. Okay. So when I was first catching up with my friend Genevieve from back home, um we were talking for a bit and she asked me if I was still dating one of my exes, and he was really abusive. So I was like, "No." And she's like, "Oh, thank fucking God." And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, but like I heard that you're dating someone right now, like, like who are they?" And I was describing you or whatnot, and I told her about the time where like before we were even dating, I told you that I had an anxiety attack and you didn't have money, but like you didn't have money in your bank account, but you had cash. So you took a cab to my house to like spend time with me and make sure I was okay. And she was like genuinely, you like that is all I've ever wanted for you. And like just hearing about him makes me want to meet him because he just seems genuinely like the nicest person in regards to you. Like he's firm, but he's good to you and he's nice to you and he's just gonna make you a better person while also improving himself. And I was like, yeah, like that's what it is, right? And I just thought that was really nice.
That's so in depth. Like I do talk about you, don't get me wrong. I don't like I mean I don't like I said earlier, I don't really talk to people, Like when I talk to people it's more we're playing a game or D&D or something like that where it's like it's more of a shared activity. Like I don't rant to my friends very often. I don't think I've ranted to my friend Jaden, and as you know, when I'm sad and when I
Hmm.
feel like he's ignoring me, even though he's not. Um, I've ranted to him, but I don't think I've ranted to him much about you.
Hmm.
And I remember my answer from the last time we recorded was, again, I don't think she's on this podcast, so whether or not, she can choose a different name if she joins, but our mutual friend Rose, right?
Hmm.
I remember talking to her about you when we were just starting to see each other, and you know, she told me that I seemed happier than I had in a long time, or something along those lines. I don't have a great memory, but now that I think about it, I realize that there are, that's not the only time that I've heard that in regards to you, and I think that that is probably the one thing that most people acknowledge is that I do come out of my shell a little bit. I mean, not anymore because, we're in quarantine and that really has set me back on my social maturity by a good amount. But
Yeah.
before quarantine and after, um, you're definitely you're good for me in terms of opening up and trying new things that are outside of my comfort zone because they're outside of my house. So,
I hope that I do get to drag you out of the house after quarantine. Like when we're both vaccinated, I'm literally gonna be out for like a whole last week. I'm not coming home. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't think I'll join you for the week. But like catch me on like a Saturday night or something, sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, like I'll go out once or twice a week with you, but like I like being at home because most of the things that I like doing are at home. So,
Mhm.
but I will go out. I do promise.
Okay. Everyone's heard it. Once this is uploaded, everyone will hear it. So you have to keep
I
that up.
hold my promises. I will go out. I'm not going to stay at home after quarantine. I also want to go out, even though I don't know how much I want to go out. But I do want to.
That's fair. All right. Question 5 is what's the most annoying thing about the other?
God, what did I say last time?
I
Just,
don't know.
yeah. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of things you do that annoy me, other than when you're like mad, you know?
What?
Like, well, I don't know. Sometimes when we get into like an argument, right? Like there are there are some things that you do during an argument that annoy me, but they're things that most people do. Like it's not a you
Hmm.
specific thing. It's just like people do these things. But like I find that you're better than most when it comes to like expressing your feelings. And on a normal average day, you are a lot better than most at expressing your feelings.
That's what therapy does for you. So
Hmm.
everyone listening to this, go to therapy, even if you're not like sad.
But when we're having not a good day and we get into an argument, you become worse than normal at expressing your feelings.
That's what lacking therapy does to you. Because I
And
haven't been in a while.
yeah, and it's not something that I fault you for. I don't, I'm not blaming you. Like I'm pretty bad at expressing my feelings too. I would be pretty hypocritical of me to throw you under the bus like that. But like there are times when we're having an argument, I'm like, just tell me how you feel, like just communicate. And you're like, no, basically. So I'm just like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? Guess? And then even if I guess right, it doesn't fix the problem. I'm like, and I get it. There are times when we need moments to just feel our emotions and be annoyed at people and be sad, be upset, and that's good. It's healthy. But you're right.
Mhm.
Like I like to jump in and work on problems. I like to solve things and I like to solve emotions even when it's too soon to do that. But
Yeah.
there are times where I get frustrated by the fact that that doesn't work for me,
Yeah.
even though I don't
No,
think it's
that's
my
fair.
fault, but it's not your fault either. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of goes into like my answer because I was thinking about this. The most annoying thing, it's not like super annoying. It's just like in the moment again, like you said, whenever we're in an argument, if I if like you're getting better at it, but like to preface this, like anyone that listens to this, I don't lie. I physically can't do it. If I manage to, I have to say the truth like a second later. Um, I don't know why, but like I will physically like feel sick if I lie, so I can't do it. So when I say like during an argument, I'm like, "Hey, leave me alone," or like I say leave me alone in general, like I'm just like, "Please." It's it's me genuinely asking for space. I don't understand when people say leave me alone, but they want someone to stay. Like I get where you're coming from because like you're pulling away, but you want someone there, but it doesn't make sense for me. Like it doesn't make sense in my brain. So whenever I'm like leave me alone and you're like but I want to stay or like we should talk about it or we should figure this out or you're like you're leaving but you're like taking your time because you're like if you need me though like I'm still here or like
But
like
what you
I'm
really
I'm
meant
gonna
is like, yo, get out of my get out of my
yeah
room, like give me space for 5 minutes. No, I know.
yeah so like I'm not like mad about it or like on a day to day I'm not annoyed about it but like in the moment I'm kind of like dude like
Just go.
I'm telling you
Yeah. No, I am getting better. Like, I mean, to anyone listening to this, have you ever met someone who says "leave me alone" and meant it? Like, comment below or something. Say like, "Hey, I've met people like that," or tell me no because I'm curious. I never have before meeting you and getting to know you, right? Maybe
hmm
like I've never met anyone who meant it when they said leave me alone, or like who meant it especially when they say like it's okay. That still like what you say it like we're having an argument and I'm like I'm sorry, and finally you're like it's okay. And I'm like it is it though? Like because yes, it is when you say it because you tell the truth, but your tone tells lies.
my tone sucks. I don't know.
It's
Like
garbage.
I
It's so hard
I
to
hope
ah.
I hope that like whoever whoever listens to this, I hope that there is a Lao person that is listening to this because then they will or like Asian people in general because everyone knows like the tone in languages that are on the other side of the world because we're in Canada um tone doesn't really matter except for like differentiating between the meanings of words if they are like the same word um but even then it's more of a pronunciation versus a tone like for example for Lao people if you're saying the word ma like you can say ma and that's like dog but you can say ma which is like come here so it's the pronunciation it's not the tone I can say like sabaidi means hello but I can say sabaidi and it means hi like it's friendly but in English it's so weird because people like they express their emotions through tone and I don't know how to do that like obviously my voice gets like higher or like an angrier tone when I'm angry, but if I'm over my emotion, my tone doesn't like catch up right away. So if something's okay after we have an argument, I'll be like, it's okay. And it just sounds really bad.
Yeah. Um, I'm working on it, but it's a process of separating those two things for me because I have to trust your words more than your tone. With most other people, you have to read their tone first and then
hmm
apply the words to the tone, I find.
hmm
Because the tone is like the raw emotion and the words are what they're using to I guess the words are kind of like the funnel that they're pouring the raw emotion through. But with
Yeah.
you, it's just like the tone is just something that floats around there, but the words are the entire point. And it's like that's hard. That's a whole new system of understanding people. But
Hmm.
I'm mostly there now.
Yeah.
You say leave me alone, and I go, all right. That's one of the hardest things I've ever managed to do in my life. So I don't
Oh.
know.
Ah. All right. We gotta go to the next question so that we're
Yeah, I
not
know.
like talking for 3 hours.
I like talking to
Um,
you. All right, I know you're in the other room, but I still like talking to you.
it's so weird. I'm in the living room, you're in your room, the door's closed. Like,
I mean, yeah, I gotta record. I got my good quality microphone. I need that smooth, silky voice.
true.
Read the next question, please.
Okay, it is what's the best quality of the other?
Haha, honesty. Got led right into it. Look at you organizing these questions. Your honesty. You're always honest, and I mean, I'll throw like a handful of compliments at you right now. You can't stop me because we're recording, and that would be rude. You're
I
honest.
would
Not too late.
I'll no, I'll disconnect you from the call.
I'll just reconnect myself. You can't stop me. You're honest. You are caring, especially about people who are less fortunate than yourself. You want to commit all of your time and effort into helping other people when, I mean, let's be real. You should, you know, spend more time on yourself. You're too selfless, but you are selfless, and that's a good thing. Um, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, but those are like the big three. And you never accept my compliments, so I'll have to put them on the internet, and then it's too late because they're out there.
The internet is forever.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, now I'm just gonna sound bad because I can't name three best qualities for you. And it's not that you don't have
No,
them.
it's okay. I only have one good quality, and it's on rotation. I have one good quality at a time, and sometimes it fluctuates. I don't have the effort for any more than that.
Oh my God. Okay, so I think your best quality is, I think I said this last time, is your patience. Um, because you are very patient with learning how to obviously adapt to the way that I am, which is what we just discussed, like with tone, with learning how I talk, with learning how to like be patient with my mental health and how it affects our relationship, or honestly even just me in general. Because while it does affect our relationship, like sometimes I'm just going through shit and there's nothing really you can do, unfortunately, because these things have to come from me. um and it sucks. But you happen to make the best of it just by being there, by making sure that you're around whenever I need you, by offering, literally anything you can do to help. Even if it's just like leaving me alone. um, but yeah, just your patience is one of the things that I genuinely love about you, especially since basically my entire life I've had one consistent person um be patient with me and learn, to love me despite all my fucking flaws. Um and you are probably like the third person to do that consistently, just because like I also found a second person, which was my other best friend. But yeah, like it's very rare to find that in my life, and I'm very happy that you are here.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that a lot.
Anyway, next question.
That's how you take a compliment, by the way. Goodness.
Um, all right. So the next question is, if you had to change one physical thing about the other, what would it be? And had is in capitals. Um, so yeah.
I'm keeping my answer from last time because it was a good answer. Your toes. I'll change your toes. And I'll give the backstory. Her toes are long. They're not they're not noticeably long, but if you really looked at them, they're long. And she said it. she acknowledges it that they're kind of fingerish, like
Yeah.
just getting towards like they're a little fingerish, which is cool. That's a cool thing. I wouldn't change them. Like if there was a surgery available to like shorten your toes, I wouldn't want you to do it. But if I had to change something about you physically, I would change your toes because I don't, I don't mind normal toes either. I don't really ever care about toes, to be fair, but whenever I notice them, I'm like, ha, nice. Those are some long toes.
Yeah, I wouldn't change them now, but definitely like it's the same thing as I said in our first recording. Like I was very self-conscious about them when I was younger because a boy literally took time out of his day to point them out to me and said your toes are weird. Um, so Alvin from the third grade, I love my toes now.
Good for
Okay?
you.
Like,
And you
this
should.
this was a man who ate grapes and lasagna together in a thermos and
What?
said I'm gonna expose this man. This is a man that was in my elementary school that had lasagna in a thermos and would say, "Does anyone dare me to eat these grapes with this lasagna?" And everyone would be like, "No, that's gross." And he'd be like, "Well, I'm gonna do it anyway." And then he would eat them together just to be gross. And this annoying kid took time out of his day to tell me that my toes were ugly and weird. Like, I don't know, Alvin, maybe you got bigger problems.
I'm floored. Oh,
I I haven't seen him in years. I followed him on Instagram like maybe 4 years ago. Then I unfollowed him because we lost touch or whatever. We didn't really reconnect anyway, but you know what I mean. But
mhm.
he seems to be doing well. Plays hockey. He's great. But honestly, like third grade Alvin, man, fuck you. But like, hope you're doing well now.
Yeah. All right. I'll second that, I guess.
um. Anyway, back to this question. I still don't have like an actual answer. My answer might seem like a cop out, but genuinely I don't have things that I would change about you. Um so my answer was just like right now, um like both of us are not the most physically fit and you've expressed that you wanted to get more fit. So I encourage that. I second it. I
Drink my belly.
I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't care if you gain 500 pounds. You know, it's bad for
Uh,
it's bad
you'll
for your health.
at
So,
500, you'll start caring. That's
like,
a bit excessive.
like health wise, that will affect you, and that's bad. But looks wise, like, I really don't care. Like, I love you. Gain pounds, lose pounds, it's whatever. It's just I also want you to love you and feel your best and look your best according to you. So yeah, like physically, basically, if I had to put it into like a specific spot, I would say like shave off some stomach fat because you want to.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't care.
That's what I'm looking for.
All right. The next question is who's the more petty person in the relationship?
You.
I mean, I agree. I remember we
I,
talked about like in day to day, you're a little more petty,
yeah.
but in the long term, I'm more petty.
Yeah. You'll destroy someone's entire livelihood to get back at them, whereas I'm just petty about things normally. I don't know. I think I'm like, on average, yeah, I think I am the more petty one, like on an
Mhm.
average day. I'm pretty
Yeah.
petty. I'm a little shit sometimes, if I'm being honest.
It's like if it's little things, I feel like you'll be like, "Oh, like I'll do this or that to like get even like almost immediately."
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
if someone wrongs me, I'm just like either I forgive you right away or I'm like in 30 years you're going to be living a miserable life and you're going to wonder why, and it's going to be all because of me.
I'll bring up the game thing because I'm very petty in video games as well. And like I
Mm.
had a story the first time we played about me playing Stellaris, which was a grand strategy space game. You play a spacefaring empire, whatever. Um, and that was I liked telling that. I don't know if anyone cared, but I liked telling it. And now I have a new story from the same game from yesterday, so I'm going to tell this one again. So I was playing this game. This is me being petty, and I was playing a robotic population, and I was planning on being pretty friendly. Maybe like declaring war on like one guy who was being a dick to the rest of the galaxy. Like I was planning on being like the peacekeeper of the galaxy, right?
Mm.
And about like an hour into playing, this federation of three other empires declared war on me, and I spent the next like 4 real life hours of my life declaring war on them repeatedly just because they declared war on me for like a few minutes. And I just steamrolled across their entire I was like, you know what? Fuck you. And I was so mad. I am very petty in games. In real life, I let things roll right off me, but in games I can't have that. I can't have that shit.
I love it.
Yeah. It's practice for when it matters in real life.
All right. Number 9 is who's the more emotionally mature person in the relationship?
Hmm.
I feel like this goes like again, like it depends on what it is. I think generally I would like to say I'm more emotionally mature, but not by much. By like maybe like I'm 2% more emotionally mature, and it's just because of the way that I process certain things. Um like I feel like little things or little arguments can bother you for a very long time, and not that if it takes you a while to get over something it means you're emotionally immature, but I feel like there's a sense of maturity that comes with me being able to just switch to a different emotion. And it's not in a way that I am suppressing anything. It's just like my brain is like, oh, a minor inconvenience happened or a minor argument happened. We talked, therefore it is okay, therefore I'm okay. And I think that's a really good outlook for that. But when it's a big thing, my brain is just like, time to shut down versus like, you're like, let's continue to look for solutions. And I think that's why we're pretty even. I just think in little situations, I'm like a little bit further.
I think it's taken me a long time to like gain emotional maturity because I was not very emotionally mature for most of my life, being, a young man. I mean, let's be real. But I think that you have had to deal with more
Mm.
emotionally than I have ever had to deal with. And I
Mm.
think that that shows a great degree of emotional strength.
Mm.
But I don't necessarily consider strength to be maturity either.
That's
And
fair.
that's not to say that you're not emotionally mature because you are. But I think that when it comes to, you do process things quickly, and in a lot of situations, that is a good thing. But there are times that that can come off as almost callous with other people. Like it's almost as though it's a minor inconvenience, so you don't need to care about it, so you move on, but other people do care about it.
Mm.
And you are strong emotionally and you're able to push through little issues like that. But people who are not as emotionally strong but still mature get left behind to deal with those emotions alone sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think the way I would describe emotional maturity is your ability to, engage with somebody else's emotions and meet them in the middle and work with those emotions. I think that that is maturity, is your ability to share emotion and take other people's emotion as well.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, what I've kind of come to figure out. Because I mean, you talked about me being patient, and I think that is one way to put it, but I've never really considered myself. I mean, like I have patience, but I'm not necessarily the most patient person. I actually I like to do things quickly. Like I like things to be fast and consistent, and I like to change gears fairly frequently. Like I'm not that patient, but I'm adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that personally, I don't know if there's a question on here, but if there's a question like what do you consider to be your own best quality, I consider mine to be adaptability.
Yeah.
Like I'm very able to be put into a situation. If I flounder for a minute, that's fine, but pretty quickly I'll be okay. I will
Mm-hmm.
engage in the situation. It just takes me a second, but I do it quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that we're both emotionally mature, and I don't think I'm more emotionally mature than you. I don't really have an answer to this question, to be honest, but I think that our emotional maturities are different.
Yeah. No, that's why like it's weird to say, which is why I'm saying like there's a tiny little difference that I personally see where I would say I'm like a little bit more, but we express the immaturity in different ways, so it's hard to compare.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Let's say we're both cool people and leave it there.
I'll take that. You just gave yourself a compliment.
uh, like a half
Nice.
one.
It counts.
Thanks. All right. The next one is who is the decision maker in the relationship?
You. I
um
say making the decision for us. I got
um
one.
I mean, yeah, I would say me, but it's just because I like things to have a clear-cut answer. So if we're like, what do we want for dinner? I'm like this, or like what are we gonna watch while we eat, or like we're just chilling. I'm like this because I want to watch this. Like I don't like it to be like someone asks a question and it goes unanswered for like 10 minutes. My brain cannot do that. My brain likes everything in a box. And if things are floating outside, I get uncomfortable.
I'm not gonna try to out you because I don't, I'm not here on your podcast to out you.
Out me, do it.
You're not touching on the fact that it's also just because you are a little pickier than I am.
Oh, I'm definitely no, not even a little. I'm super picky.
Yeah, so being in a relationship with you and knowing that I'm very not picky, like I rarely have a preference on
Mm.
things. Like, yeah, there are things I want to watch and there are foods I want to eat. But like, let's say I want a burger and you're like, "Oh, I'm feeling sushi." I'm like, "Yeah, I could eat sushi. I like sushi. I know I like sushi for a fact because I've had sushi before and liked it."
Mm.
So it's like I don't care. But if I suggest sushi and you're not in the mood for sushi, you're like, "I don't feel like sushi. Let's find something else." So that's why I purposefully make you make decisions because I don't want to sit there and be like, how about this? How about this? How about this? When you could just tell me what you want
Yeah,
because
that's
you
pretty
know what you
fair.
want. And I don't, because I'm not patient. I want it to just be decided. I don't know.
Um,
It's fine. I'm not against you making decisions. There are times when I do make decisions, and there are times when I put my foot down and I say the things that I want as well. Like I'm not shy about it. It's just like most of the time, it's so much easier when you just do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is the last question that we ended on last time. And we have like 10 more, I think.
Hmm.
Um, so 11 is if you broke up, who would take Pasha, who is our cat, and who would move out of the apartment? Um, and I think we landed on I would take Pasha because I am technically his legal adopter.
Yeah.
Like on the paperwork, I'm the one that signed it. I'm the one that paid. Because we couldn't have two people as like the person. Um, and who would move out of the apartment? Literally,
Both of us.
yeah, like
We don't even like our apartment that much. We both want to move. Like if we broke up, neither of us would want to stay here. Like
yeah, like
it's just
I
easy right now.
I hope our landlord somehow stumbles upon this podcast and hears
Doubt
it.
it. They don't even know who we are, man. It's fine. I've never met our landlord.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. The apartments like the layout is great. I like the layout.
Yeah, me too.
But the amount of space like I would need more because I have so much shit. And we deal with well, not recently actually, like not within the past month. But there was a lot of fumigations and exterminators and all that coming because we had roaches and they
Yep.
definitely are still around and it
They're
I've
alive. They're
oof
alive
like
somewhere. I see one every now and then, but they're not a common occurrence. And they're never close enough to me. I mean, you get surprised by them sometimes, but that's because you can't see anything. But it's like you'll go into the bathroom and be like, ah, and I'm like, oh god, okay. But it's like I'll walk into the kitchen and I'll see one like across the room, and I'm like, okay, and I just walk up and kill it because like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
To go back to Pasha though, by the way, I know that you're right, but he has been
Mm.
chilling under the blanket on my bed now for like the entire time we've been recording. He came
I
out, he
mean
sniffed around for a bit, he went back under. He,
he just likes to hide though.
yeah, yeah, he's warming up to me though. I can pick him up for a while and like hold him like a little baby, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
He minds less and less each time.
Yeah. I
One
mean
day he will enjoy it.
not to claim him, but I mean most of the time whenever you're in your room,
Yeah,
like
yeah, he sits with you.
he sits with me on the couch, he
Yeah.
lets me pet him. When he's sleeping, I'll poke him and he's fine with it.
He, with you, I think he has a greater range of feelings. Like
Mm.
he actively seeks out your company and then he runs away from you, depending on how he feels. Like he'll sprint across the room when you like move.
Yeah.
And then with me, it's just like he follows me around and I pick him up, and that just never changes.
Yeah.
Like I'm in my room, he ignores me the whole time because I'm in my room. And then I come out and he's like, ah, the big guy has showed up and I will follow him.
Mm.
So I don't know. He's very medium with me, whereas with you, he's like up and down all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Higher
right.
highs, lower lows.
So these are the questions that we will be responding to with our actual genuinely first answers because we didn't get here in the last recording.
I forgot
Um
most of my answers anyway from the last ones. It's fine.
True.
Yeah. All
Um so question 12 is
right. All
if
right.
you caught the other cheating, what would you do?
We paused here.
Yeah.
This is such a heavy. Could you imagine starting off the next episode if we did a two-parter with that? Oh my god. Um, I'd leave. I would just go away. I would just leave, like initially. Like
That was
how long do you want? Like is it like in the moment? What would I do, or is it like what is my whole game plan? Like what's
um
Operation You Cheated on Me?
I would say both. Like what would your initial reaction be? And then what would you do after?
Oh, I would just like I would just if I saw you cheating on me, like okay. Let's set the scene a little bit here. Like, is this like I catch you cheating because like I find a flirty text, or is it like I catch you cheating because someone's dick's inside you and I like walk in on it?
I mean, let me preface this with like I would never cheat on you, but
If
in
you
this
did, it wouldn't be a
hypothetical,
man.
no, no. I was gonna say like if if it was if this is a hypothetical that I'm actually cheating on you, I don't think I would get caught by a flirty text. Like that's stupid. I'm sorry.
That's true.
Whoever the
You a
fuck
lot
gets caught
smarter
by
than
that,
that.
like,
You a lot
bro.
sneakier.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so many ways to hide these things, and it's like if you get caught over like a text, you deserve to be like fucking come on, really? But like if this were hypothetical in which you caught me cheating, like it would dead ass be like you needed to be out of town or you were at work or something for like some reason
Yeah,
because you're at work.
yeah, because I'm working.
And you came home early without telling me or like you sent me a text to be like, "Oh, I felt sick so I'm coming home," but my
Right, right,
phone
right.
didn't
The
get it.
the the classic. Got
Yeah,
it.
so
Got
like
it.
this
Got
would be
it.
like you caught me with another dick in me, or me with another woman. Who knows? Bisexuals.
Well, then that complicates the answer even more because it shouldn't, first of all. I acknowledge that that shouldn't matter in the
Oh, because you're
slightest to me.
weird about like a girl. Oh,
I
okay,
am.
okay, no, no, there's a dick in me.
Okay, that simplifies things. If you were with a girl, I would have mixed feelings because I like you exploring. I mean, you've explored your bisexual side. I know that, and like you're bisexual. But like, I don't know. Like, if I don't know,
It's because
I'm weird
no,
about it.
no, literally, it's because straight white boys are always like, oh, if it's another guy, it's kind of like an attack on my masculinity because
That is
like
probably what it
what
is.
does this
Yeah.
guy have that I don't? Like he has dick, like a girl has a vagina. And like, okay, I kind of get it. But like that's so dumb. I'm sorry. Like I love you, but that's dumb. You're not the first person that has said that to me, and you probably won't be the last because I talk to friends about this shit too. And it's like cheating is cheating. That
No,
like
I agree. And like, okay, in the long term, actually, no, they probably would go the same way. Like, I would do the same things either way, but I just wouldn't feel as bad for some reason if it was a girl. You know what I mean? And like, again, I acknowledge that there's no reason for that.
mm-hmm.
I know that, but I don't know why. I mean, you probably hit the nail on the head. My brain can't wrap around the reasoning. It never has been able to. But let's say it's a dude. Let's say I walk home and you're in your room, just getting railed, just absolutely rammed, just fucking having a fuck. You know, I would walk in on you purposely. Like I would just like open the door and walk in, and you would look at me, and I would look at you, and then I would walk out, and I would leave the apartment. I would just leave. I wouldn't say a word. I wouldn't say a single thing. I wouldn't yell. I wouldn't do a damn thing. I would just look at you, make eye contact with you, turn around, and I would leave. Because I think that's way funnier than yelling. I think that that is the funniest reaction to being cheated on you can possibly have, and that's why I would do it.
I mean, pretty fair. It's kind of sad, but it's fair.
Yeah, it's just like I don't like getting angry, and like I'm sure I would be angry, but I would more be vengeful, and I hate that feeling even more.
Yeah.
And so I would just like I would remove myself from the situation. I might even give you a little wave on the way out, like "see ya," and I would just leave. And then, if possible, you would hear from me as little as I possibly could for the rest of my life,
Mm.
and I would phase you out.
I mean, that like again, not that I would do it, but that just kind of feels like I didn't have a lot of consequences. Not that losing you is not a really bad consequence, but it's like there's still contact. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, I don't think like I know that your reaction is probably a lot more visceral, but the person that I am, like, I don't think that people deserve anger when you can manage it.
Yeah.
And like, even if, like, the thing is, I know you would never cheat on me because I don't give you a reason to, you know? But it's like, yeah.
No, no, not that you. I wasn't gonna like disagree with you there,
Well,
but it's just the statement of like I don't give you a reason to. I don't like that because it's like there's no reason to cheat on someone. That
no,
is like
but people do cheat on people.
it's because they're shitty people.
Yeah, which is a reason to cheat on them.
Yeah, no, 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 no. I
It
mean
doesn't
like
have to be a good reason that everyone stands by, but in the moment, you have a reason that makes you feel okay about cheating.
I mean I guess.
And so I don't think I'd give you a reason that would make you feel okay about cheating on me, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's say I walked in on you. One of the thoughts in my head would be, even if I don't want to, I wouldn't blame myself. But regardless, there was a reason in your head that made this okay.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's like, I don't want to explode at you because that just ends in you exploding back, probably, and this random guy here beating me up for no reason. And it's, even though it's my apartment, but it's like, and yours, don't get me wrong. But I think it's just like, to me, I find more power personally in just I find a lot of power in just silently disappearing.
Mm.
And if it was possible, if you ever cheated on me, I wouldn't yell. I would make as little of an exit in your life as possible, but you would know that there's a hole there and you would know exactly why it's there forever.
Yeah.
And I would never talk to you about it. And I would not let you find, a closure in it. I would just leave.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, that's my answer.
All right. My answer is that I would decapitate you both.
Yeah, I figured.
like whoever listens to this, like I'm kidding, kind of ish.
She's not. She doesn't lie.
But I've been cheated on before, and I've cheated on someone. And it was like the people that cheated on me were one, like they just didn't care about me. The other thought someone was hotter than me. They were not good reasons.
Yeah, it's
My
a shit
reason,
fucking reason. Holy.
yeah, my reason for cheating on someone was because they were extremely abusive towards me. And we were long distance. So I don't know. It was like there was a whole day that went by that was super stressful. And I tried to tell this person that my day was stressful and that I was going through it. And they basically told me, shut up. I don't care about your problems right now because I have bigger problems. And I was like, what is the problem? And they were like, I'm horny and I want to go fuck someone. And I was like, okay. And they were like, yeah. And you happen to live 400 kilometers away. So what am I supposed to do about that? And I was like, I don't know. Like, masturbate? I'm sorry. I don't know how to help you here. And they just yelled at me, hung up the phone. And I went to a party that night and I met a guy that I thought was really cute. We had an agreement, me and my boyfriend at the time, that we were exclusive, but because of like the loneliness, as he told me it was, we could each like make out with someone. And I didn't go further than that night because the guy ended up like leaving the party or whatever. But I texted that guy the next day and we started hanging out and we started like hooking up regularly because I just didn't want to face the reality that my relationship was abusive. And it's like, if I ever became that much of a shitty person to you, first of all, I would hope that you would leave. But if you cheated on me and you were like, it's because you literally abused me, I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be like, what the fuck happened to me or whatever. But if this was like the way that we are now, where it's like this is one of the healthiest relationships that I've ever been in, and I see it being a long-term thing, and like I feel genuinely that I have a place here, and like there's mutual respect, mutual love.
And then all of a sudden, now it's just vanished. Yeah.
Like I would dead ass lose it. I would start stabbing people because
I would expect that. Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to comprehend it. I'd be like, what the fuck did I just walk in on? And I would just like, our kitchen's right there. Our kitchen is like 3 steps from your bedroom door.
Yeah, there's only we have 2 knives.
Yeah.
One's like a bread knife, which is probably better.
I was gonna say I would use the bread knife.
Yeah, like not to turn this podcast into like a how to decapitate, but like I think a bread knife is better than like a regular like flat bladed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel that. I mean, like again, like I understand people having powerful emotional responses to stuff like that, and I might, like I don't know. I'm not put in that position all the time. But like I get sad before I get angry. You know what I mean? So I think that I would just be sad.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, we should go to the next question.
Yeah. Let's hit them with that next one.
So 13 is, where do you see your relationship in 5 years and then 10 years?
5 years.
So like in 5 years, this is because we've talked about this. I assume that we would be moving like across the country because I would like to go to BC and you would like to go to BC.
Yeah. So would everybody, but yeah.
So so I would hope that, you know, we're still going strong and we're ready to move and settle into like a better chapter of our lives. Not that this one is bad, but like there's a whole ass quarantine and
I was gonna say, let's be real, it's not good. Like
yeah.
there are good things about this chapter of life. Like, you know, you are a good part of this chapter of life for me, but the chapter is pretty shit.
Yeah. And in 10 years, in 10 years, I would like to say either we like just got married or you have proposed. That's literally it.
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go ahead if you have another
No,
thing to say.
I was gonna say like not because I want to preface this with like I believe anyone can propose or whatnot. Like if you're listening to this and you're a woman or you know non-binaries or whatnot, you know you can propose. I'm just like weirdly traditional in the sense where like I want if my partner is a male, I want them to propose. I don't know. It was instilled in me. Like if my partner was a female, I would not care or non-binary for that matter. But like because you're a male for some reason in my head it's like, oh, please be the one to propose to me. But yeah.
Yeah. You know, it was instilled in me.
What?
Pride and white privilege. Like so we both have traditional aspects. I'm working through it. I really am.
Oh man.
Yeah. I can joke about it now because I'm definitely a lot better than I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with your timeline. I think that in 5 years, I would have hoped that we had already moved. I would like to say that we're already like settled into our house in BC.
Mm-hmm.
I just think like, you know, maybe we just moved, but like I think that we should already be out of here. I want to move in like 2025, you know.
Yeah.
And in 10 years, like I would hope that we had already gotten married, if I'm being real. I mean, I know I know your timeline is a little stretched on that and not certain, but I mean, you said if you wanted to get married at 28, you're going to be like 32 in 10 years.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. It's just like not that this relationship doesn't matter to me, but when I think about the future, my relationship is one of the last things I think about.
Yeah, you got other stuff going on.
Yeah, it's entirely because I'm like, oh, well, like what job am I gonna have? I literally own a business now. Like, where is it going to be? Like what am I gonna be doing with my professional life, my social life, my all that, right? And then after it's like, oh, and my relationship, like I hope would be here.
Yeah. Well, I hope that we're married in 10 years. That's a long time to be dating someone, and it's not too long. Again, like I know people who have gotten married after like 15, 20 years, but like I don't know. Like I feel like 10 at that point it will be 11 years we've been together. If we're already together 11 years, like we could just already be married. It seems like it's going well enough. Like, you know, that's my logic. It's like if you're together 11 years and you're still happy, you should probably have already gotten married. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, at that point it's like the only thing that would be like, oh, like we're not going to get married is just like if you just genuinely don't like marriage or like it's not for you.
Like if you have a thing against marriage, absolutely don't get married.
Yeah. But like,
otherwise, if you want to get married eventually and you're with somebody for a decade, just get married.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I didn't realize this, but question 14 is actually a repeat question because I was just copy pasting them from Instagram.
Right.
Because people like sent them in.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to 15.
Okay.
And it is, do you believe your moral codes and stances are similar?
Similar being the key word there.
Yeah.
Because
So like,
identical, no.
yeah. So like personally I think we stand for a lot of the same things, right? Like obviously we wouldn't work together as a couple or pairing if we had completely different moral stances.
Mm.
Because it's like, you know, you can be in a relationship with literally anyone with completely different interests in like music, activities, etc. But if your morals don't line up, that's where you're going to clash, and that's what builds a relationship in the long run.
Yeah.
So morally, I think we hold a lot of the same views, but I am more outward and passionate about them because I literally brand myself as an activist.
Yeah.
So everything that I do has to do with creating change in the world, standing up to all the isms, you know, like the racism, sexism, ageism, etc. Whereas like you believe in these things and you're like, you know, I want to stand against them with you, and just for yourself as like a personal thing, because obviously you're not a racist person, but like
I do my
but
best,
like
thank you. Yeah.
yeah, but like you wouldn't, like you're not the kind of person to actively take part in the fight against them every single day.
I think it's like, yeah, you know, if the fight comes to my door, I'll fight it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't go out into the world seeking ways to change it, which is, you know, when you say it out loud, like obviously, yeah, there are things that I could do more, and I acknowledge
Mm-hmm.
that. And that's because most of my life is built around honestly make believe. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a writer. I write fantasy novels. I play video games. I play Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop RPGs. I like to absorb myself in fiction and places where the world is different. So I don't spend a lot of my time looking at the real world. Like
Yeah.
I do, I go out in it, I go to work, like I live my life in the real world, but it's not like well, I don't pay attention to the news because the real world is not a world that I even really I don't like the world, you know? There's a lot of
Yeah.
shit in the world that is not good. And yes, if you have a voice, you should add it. And if there's a protest that I believe in, and especially if you're going to go to it, I'll participate because I do believe in the fact that I think a lot needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not the guy who pushes for change first. I don't take the front line in that fight.
Yeah.
I
And like
believe in it.
I understand it from like even a mental and emotional sense where, you know, people are like, people say I keep up with like events, but sometimes I need to take my eyes off the screen or not scroll through social media because all of this affects my mental health in a bad way too. And it's like I don't want you to overload yourself, especially if you're not a person that's like always been a part of activist life.
Yeah.
But personally for me, like it's also the way that we grew up is very different, right? Where like you came from a neighborhood or an area that was a little more put together, whereas I came from a place that was just like Laos still has like shit going on where they are dealing with like communism and
Right.
like attacks and stuff, and that's it's nothing new. And like my parents had to deal with that, I had to deal with that, and then Canada happened, and it's like here I still faced racism from a very young age,
Yeah.
and like people catcalling me when I was like 11. So I was exposed to so many things that just made me think like the world sucks and I have to do something to change it. So I
Yeah.
grew up just keeping up with all this, and I can't stop now. Like once you're in it for 10 years, you know, 20 years trying to create change, you can't just suddenly be like, well, I'm going to take a step back. It like your brain cannot do that anymore.
Well, I mean, you probably shouldn't. I mean, if you're committing yourself to change and you're in it, like if you reach a point in your life where you're okay with taking a step back, then do. It's not good to overwork yourself or sacrifice your own health for a cause. Even even when it's important, you should be looking out for yourself first, I believe, personally. Because taking care of yourself is the best way to put yourself in a position where you are healthy enough and you are strong enough to fight.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right about our backgrounds. Like, when I look back on my childhood, I can't remember a time when I experienced racism or sexism. I'm sure it happened. Like, it's everywhere, and I'm sure there were moments where people around me were racist or sexist, but when I look back, I don't remember it. And when I moved to Ottawa, I can safely say that I don't remember a time before moving to Ottawa, like, what, 2.5 years ago? I don't remember anyone being racist or sexist. I just don't. Like, and I don't know if that's because it wasn't a major thing in my, wealthy West Vancouver neighborhood that, I went to school in, or like Bowen Island where I grew up, right? Like, those places aren't, they're wealthy and they are predominantly white, and they are, but like, we did have different ethnicities and different belief systems there. Like, it wasn't a bunch of white Christians all bundled up. Like, but I don't know, and when especially like now that I have experienced it, I'm still not on the receiving end of those things.
Yeah.
So obviously it's more difficult for me to put myself in the mind of someone who has been dealing with that for their lifetime.
Yeah. When
I have seen it recently not happen to me. Like, there's a big difference there. So I try, and like, I definitely, like, I know that it's real, and I always knew it was real, but I never believed that it was as widespread as, like, the media made it seem.
It's hard to relate to, or to actually understand when you're not exposed to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is about moral compasses. This question. Your moral compass is chaotic good on the D&D alignment chart. And my moral compass is either neutral good or sometimes just straight up true neutral. Which is fairly close. It's not like one of us is evil.
Yeah.
I don't, like, purposely seek out orphans to, like, go kick. Like, I'm a decent guy, and you try very, very hard to help the world. You're a very good person.
I do make jokes about, like, I should probably stop, but like, I make jokes where I'm like, I've told friends when we're out and like we see a kid being annoying, I'm just like, I wonder how far that kid would fly if I kicked them.
Oh, absolutely.
But like, I would never do it. Like,
no, nobody would.
Yeah.
I hate the sound of a kid crying, man. Like, of course, there's some primal instinct where I'm like, yo, shut up.
Yeah.
I just wish I could say that to kids. I wish it was socially acceptable to walk up to a kid crying, look them in the eyes, and say, "Hey, shut up." Because the kids who cry in public like that are the kids that have never had that told to them,
Honestly, that is what it is. Like, this is kind of a hot take, but a lot of kids, whenever they hurt themselves, like by falling or something, they will look at people before crying because they want that comfort, they want that attention. And like, of course you should, treat your kids well, treat all kids well, because they're small and impressionable and whatnot. But like, I have talked to a kid that I've babysat where, like, the first time that he ever fell, he looked at me and burst into tears, and I walked over to him, I put a Band-Aid on his knee, and I said, "You're okay. It doesn't hurt that bad." And he looked at me and he sniffled, wiped his tears, and went, "It doesn't hurt that bad." And he was fine. And it's like, if you just normalized talking to kids like they are people rather than like the baby voice or coddling kids, like, they would be so much better off. Because it's like, obviously you're going through shit, you deal with things differently than an adult, of course, but the more you coddle a child excessively, the more they are entitled and demanding and whatnot. Like, just treat your kids like humans.
I was working a job. This was back in BC when I grew up there, right? Like I was working a job in a cafe as well, and this guy came in with like his like 4-year-old daughter or something, and he was just like, we were a coffee shop inside of a grocery store, so like, they were doing their grocery shopping, right? And but they were
Mhm.
close enough that they were in earshot, and they were looking at like this frozen foods case,
Mhm.
and there was like an ice cream case beside that you like slide open, right? And you can reach in and grab it. And she's
Yeah.
like, Dad, 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 can I have an ice cream? Can I have an ice cream? And he literally went, No. And she was like, Okay. And then they just left. And I was like, What? I was like, What? I've never seen someone so calmly turn to a child and be like, No, you can't. And she was like, Oh, okay. I was
Mhm.
like, what the hell did I just witness? Like, for real, like, if you just talk to your kids, like, you're like, no, you cannot. Like, if you're just calm about it, you just tell them, like, normal things about how the world and people work.
Mhm.
Oh my God, kids mature fast that way.
Yeah, and you could even do it in a way that doesn't take away from their childhood or whatnot. Like
Yeah,
you're
you don't have to be mean to kids.
Yeah, it's just like you can be firm without being mean. And
Yeah.
people only apply that to like the adult world, and it's like then you wonder why,
You shell
like
shock people.
yeah, like you wonder why there's all these teens or whoever that come to university or the workplace and they still don't know what they're doing, and it's like because you treated them like a child up until they were 18 and then you said go. And it's like
There's also
uh,
there's no metric in like Western society at least for treating a teenager.
mhm.
Like and like this is something that I experienced personally, which like is fine because I'm pretty sure most people probably have a similar experience, but like you're treated like a kid until all of a sudden some people start treating you like an adult while some
Mhm.
people keep treating you like a kid until everyone treats you like an adult. And it's like
Yeah.
when you start high school, there should just be like people should just start treating kids like kids, teenagers like teenagers, young adults like young adults, and adults like adults. Just do it
Yeah.
like The Sims. The Sims has the perfect like age ranges. You have toddler, you have baby, toddler, child, teenager, young adult, adult, and elder.
Yeah.
Those are the 7 stages of life, my guy, and it's so easy to just treat people as though they're in that stage of their life.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be mean to any of them. Just like respect people, but acknowledge where they are in their life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
The
mean,
world's dumb.
at least that helps answer the question, we have the same stance on this.
The answer is yes, we have similar stances on things. Next question, please. We are great at going on tangents. We are very good.
Honestly. The next one is, do you believe you're sexually compatible?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I expected.
You?
Yeah, no, the answer is yeah. Like, obviously we are because, not that like sex is the most important thing in a relationship, but I don't think that you can have a long-term relationship if you're not sexually compatible. And I don't mean this in the sense of like just having sex. I mean, if you are asexual, you need a partner if you choose to have a partner that respects that. So in
Yeah.
any way, you have to be sexually compatible. And I think that like we're pretty solid. I think that we could be like a little more, for lack of a better word, like adventurous, but that's mainly just because like the quarantine has really affected me mentally
I
and I've
am
just been like
so
sad times.
lazy. Like the quarantine has definitely added to this as well. Like I'm pretty lazy in general, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. But like in quarantine, it's like I don't even want to like sit up in bed.
Yeah.
Like I want to get out of bed to eat. I want to play video games, and then I want to take a nap, repeat, and then go to sleep.
Exactly. And it's so hard to be motivated to do anything in
Yeah.
quarantine. So it's like, okay, if we have sex, that's great because it's sex and it's great.
And it's great because we're sexually compatible.
Yeah.
But we don't do it as often as I think either of us would like to, but that's just because
Yeah.
it's hard to do anything right now.
Yeah.
Like
It's quarantine and it's also like I'm in pain like a lot of the time. I have
Sure.
endo. For
Yeah.
anyone out there that has endo, you know what I'm talking about. You know that even if you have a wild high sex drive, your uterus is like, haha, no.
I think I'm pretty good at
Oh.
respecting that, but
Yeah.
yeah. It's sad sometimes, but it's okay. Like overall, the answer to the question is yes. But going back to being lazy, like it took us fucking how many days now to re-record this podcast? Like you were like, oh no, like we lost the recording, and I was like, oh, we can just re-record. You were like, oh when? I was like, I don't know, we could do it even tomorrow. That was like what, like a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
like, like I don't know, man. Motivation's hard to come by for simple things and complicated things right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We have 5 more to go. The next one is, who would win in a physical fight?
What are the ground rules?
Well, the most details that they gave was with weapons or without.
Hmm.
So I would say without weapons, I would say you.
I'm just bigger than
Because
you.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you're bigger and like I think even strength-wise stronger.
Right now, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, but like with weapons,
You.
I would say me because
Yeah.
I just like I've
You know how to
carried a
use
knife.
weapons. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never used a weapon as a weapon. I own a sword, but I've never stabbed someone with it, like I don't know. Like I've never done. I mean, I did like Taekwondo for like half a year. Like I'm not proficient in it by any means at all.
Mhm.
So I never really did martial arts. I never really did like weapon training. But
Yeah.
even though you've been in some scraps, like I think that like it'd be a close fight even without weapons. But it's just like how much pain I can take. Like you fucking like you whack me in the head by accident, and you're like, "Ow, are you okay?" And you're like in like severe pain, and I'm like, "Yeah." I'm good. Like I don't my skull is so tough.
It worries me sometimes because I panic every time that I accidentally hit you. Like
Yeah.
I'll be saying something, I'll move my hands around or whatever, and I'll like smack you in the head accidentally, and I'm like, oh my god, like are you okay? I'm so sorry. And you're just there like, yeah. I'm like, that's concerning.
Sometimes I think that if we ever got in like an actual fight, like if we ever had a reason to fist fight each other, I could just stand there and you would lose. Like I think you would punch me in the head and your hand would hurt so much that you'd just be out of the fight. And I would just not have to swing. But with weapons, yeah, you'd beat the shit out of me. It's no chance.
All right. The next one is, who do you think will be the breadwinner for the time you are together?
You, unless I'm really lucky.
Really lucky, like
with writing.
Okay.
If I somehow take off as an author, then I win. I win the bread. All the bread is mine.
I win.
Yeah. But I don't know. You're more career driven than me, and like I just want to make enough money to live, and like I want better jobs as I get older, right? Like I want to move up in the world, but for the most part, I just want enough money to fund my hobbies and survive.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think that there will ever be a time where we are worlds apart in making money. Because even right now, like even if my business takes off or whatever and I make a lot of money, I plan to donate 25% of that. Like I am donating 25% monthly, and then another 25% is going towards making a fund for Black and Indigenous people of color, LGBTQ plus youth. So
yeah,
even if I were to make money, I would be like,
you're giving it away.
Yeah.
To good causes, don't get me wrong. But I mean, like, in terms of when I consider breadwinner, I just mean like who technically makes the most money. It doesn't matter if you keep that money, but like who is more successful by making dollars. I think that the answer will be you, unless I get lucky.
Yeah.
And like worst, I mean, theoretically, if your company takes off and it starts making a lot of money and it needs to grow, just hire me.
True.
Like fuck it, I'll work for you. I have no issue with I used to. I used to be very traditional in the sense that I would like to make more money than my partner. I used to think like that.
Yeah.
And I've moved away from that because I don't really care anymore. I don't see the reason why. I mean, I'm sure that if you start making more money than me initially, it'll come back and I'll feel a little bit dejected. I'll feel like I'm not doing enough because I don't know, my dad instilled that in me that like I need to provide for a family.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there will be moments where if you start doing better than me, I'll be like, "Oh man, like I'm jealous of the fact that you're successful where I don't feel successful." But you can see me growing emotionally,
Yeah.
and I can deal with that, and I'll come to terms with it pretty quickly. It's just realistically, you have a company.
Mhm.
It's in progress. It's starting out. It can take off, and if it starts taking off and it starts making money, then you're a step ahead of me anyway. And I've got a job at a coffee shop, and I write books that don't sell. And when I look at the numbers, like it will likely be you, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I want better jobs as I get older. I want to consistently move up when I can, and as long as I have enough money to pay my bills, you know, buy food, take care of necessities, and then fund whatever hobbies I feel like starting. That's all I need. That's all I
Yeah.
need.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah. I don't need to be rich.
All right. The next one is who dresses better?
You.
I mean, yeah, but I also think that it's because you don't have an extensive wardrobe, whereas like I have enough clothes where I could wear a different outfit every single day for a month, and I would not have to repeat an outfit because I have so much fucking clothes.
I have 2 pairs of pants and one of them fits. If that outs me at all. I mean, for the past I've been off work now for almost an entire month, maybe a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think I could count the amount of times I've put pants on like both my hands. Like it's less than 10 in the past month that I've decided to put on a pair of pants.
Yeah.
It's been hot too. Don't get, like I've worn shorts one time,
Mhm.
but like I've just been comfortable in like boxers that aren't like skin tight. I can just walk around in that. I don't even wear a shirt most of the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean the thing is like if it's a situation where it's a formal dinner and we're both dressing up, I think we both look good.
Yeah.
And I have no issue but in terms of the question being general, I think that you dress better on average because you have more options and you have nice fashion sense.
Thanks.
Whereas I'll put on the same black pair of pants 4 days in a row and I'll switch out a different color t-shirt.
Yeah.
I have 2 of the same t-shirt too, so sometimes I wear those back to back, but they're actually both clean. I don't know, man. I just need more clothes. We got to go thrift shopping and get like cool outfits as soon as it opens up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
This one is, what is your best memory of your time together?
Oh, there's so many.
That's gross. Sorry.
I know a lot of people say that like sarcastically, like, oh man, how can I choose? But like there's so many that I could actually choose from. Like legitimately. I have so many options. Yeah, you go first.
I mean you're pretty right. There are a lot of moments that I like. I don't know if I'm stealing this one from you, but I think there's definitely a couple, but I think the most recent one, even though it wasn't that recent, was when we literally we took a bath together and we spent like an hour and a half after the bath. We were no longer bathing. We just had to get out and go to bed, and we spent an hour and a half at like midnight blowing bubbles out of the bathtub, and we were trying to make them float off our hands and trying to like see them in the air.
I forgot about that. That was so much fun.
I just I love that because I didn't realize how much time had passed. Because we were just like
Having
like
fun?
yeah, we were having fun with
Yeah.
the dumbest thing. We were blowing fucking
Oh
bubbles
man.
in our tiny bathroom. And then when we got out, we were like, hey, like, what time is it? And I think it was like almost 2 a.m. at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, like, we gotta
Well,
go to bed. What the fuck?
it's because like two or three separate times we let a little bit of water out of the tub and then refilled it with warm water.
Yeah.
So just to keep the temperature going, like not being
Yeah.
wasteful, but just like rebalancing a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a great night. I do remember that. Yeah, no, the memory I was gonna say that I kind of landed on is when we went out for that whole weekend together. Like we weren't even like official yet.
Mm-hmm.
We just went. You took me out to a hotel for fun. And there was the pool, and you didn't even go swimming, but I was just like fucking doing laps. And I don't know why, but I just had like you were just sitting there watching me, and you had this look on your face, like you weren't sure of like what I was doing, but you liked that I was doing it. Like you just had like a look. You had the look of like a fucking like proud mother watching her kid just have a good time in the pool. You're just sitting on the edge, like that one's mine. It was just us there too. Like no other people were there, and I was just fucking having a good time. And I would swim
Yeah.
over to you and just like put my arms on the same ledge, and then I'd be like, look how fast I can go, and like fucking whip to the other side of the pool. If you put me in a water, I become a different person. Like it's instantaneous. Like you put me in a pool, in the ocean, in like a bathtub, and
Mm.
I'm just like I'm living my life.
I
Like,
was I was
uh,
genuinely impressed by how fucking fast you were swimming. Like
I'm so fast.
I'm remembering this, and it's like I watch my best friend because she's a lifeguard swim every now and then. I went and visit her to watch her watch the kids in the pool, make sure that they don't fucking drown. But I've never actually liked going to a pool or to the beach with people because like unless it was my best friend, because everyone's just like, oh, I don't actually want to be here, like I just want to tan, I just want to like
That's so
lay in the sun and
stupid.
whatever. But like you were just genuinely like, I want to swim real fast in this pool from side to side. And I was like, this is amazing, like I'm
I grew up
actually
on an island, man. I used to swim every summer, and then I stopped liking going swimming when I got to like 17 or 18. I wanted to stay inside or like just I didn't like the beach anymore for some reason.
Mhm.
And then I moved here, and it's like I didn't realize that I was starting to miss the ocean and the water. And
Yeah.
so you drop me in a pool, and I'm like, swim time. And it's like it all just comes back to me, and I feel like I'm a kid again. And it's like, oh man, I can't understand. Like, if you're gonna go to the beach, like get in the water, like even for
Yeah.
like 30 minutes, go swimming. you're
Yeah.
already you're already there. I don't know.
Mhm.
I just, if you don't like swimming, you have your reasons, whatever. But like
Yeah.
I won't understand them, that's all.
I don't know. I think the only genuine thing I've had, like not even like go swimming, like at least be in the water, because that's kind of what the beach is for.
Yeah,
But
that's like over half of the beach.
yeah, like the only reason that I've ever taken and been like, "Oh, okay," was that like one of our friends has a fear of water.
Uh,
So I was like, "Yeah, of course. I'm not going to force you to go in the water." But he ended up going in anyway. Like the last time we went to the beach, he went in and dipped his feet and like went up to his waist at one point. After that, he was like, "I got to get out because like my mind's starting to freak out." But like he did it. So I'm just like, what's the other reasons? What is it?
yeah.
All right. We are on the last question, and it's a cheesy one. It
That
is
one wasn't.
when did you know you were in love with the other?
Ah, I have the answer for this. Do you have an answer for this?
I have two answers. Um because like, okay, so I had a moment where, okay, I have to explain it. So this is my answer. So the first time that this ever came into my mind was like, my old roommate had a cat named Maisie, little calico cat, adorable. She was like friendly, but didn't like strangers touching her right away. Like most cats. But
Yeah.
anyway, you had come over to my house, out, like, I don't know where we went, but like you came over after. And you let Maisie smell your hand, and then you were petting her, and she seemed to warm up to you right away. And then you scooped her, and I've never seen her like let someone carry her other than my roommate, because that's literally her owner. Because like my other friend tried to hold her, and she just like she actually hissed at her. But you did it in such a way that was so gentle that she just kind of like let it happen and was fine. And you were like, oh, like, a little precious cat. And that's when in my head I was like, he's so nice, he's so gentle, like even with animals, like I love him. And then I was like, what the fuck was that? And then I was like, love, what is this? And I was like low-key freaking out. And then like after when you had told me that you loved me, there was another moment in which like it was something so simple. It was literally just like you had to go home, or like you had to leave. And my roommate was also there. Bless her heart, okay? Because you got into an Uber, and I closed my front door, and there's a window facing the street in that house. So I went to the couch that was beside that window, and I just sat there and watched the car until it turned at the end of the street and I couldn't see it anymore. And my roommate was like, you fucking bitch. And I was like, what? And she's like, so you're in love. Look at that. So you sat there for an extra minute to watch the car he got into. And I'm like, no, baby. And she was like, I've never seen you do that for someone. Like, what is going on? And I was like, I have a problem. And she was like, tell me it. Say it out loud. And I was like, I'm in love with Ethan. And like, that's what it was.
That's less simple than mine. I mean, the first thing that made me like think about love was, I mean, you know this because it's the reason that I first said it to you. Was like we were just walking around on like around U Ottawa, right? And I love this story. It's so dumb. But you were like, oh, because you know everybody in all of Ottawa, and especially U Ottawa, and I don't know anybody. We were like, hey, like let's go see if this person that I know is working at like I can't talk, the Tim Hortons there today. And I was like, sure. So we went in there, and we were in line for a few minutes. And I was like, we were getting close. I'm like, I think I'll have like maybe a muffin or something. I forget what I got. And I was like, I want an ice cap. And you were like, what size? I was like, I don't know, medium. And you were like, large. I was like, no, medium's fine. You were like, I'm paying. I was like, I know we discussed this. I'll take a medium. You were like, So you turned around and you were like, I'll get this muffin and a large ice cap, please. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's like one of those things from those dumb fucking couple movies where like they argue and then like the person's still like, no, they deserve a large, And like I was walking back with this drink in my hand, I was sipping it, and I was like, man, I'm so glad I got a large. And I was like, at that moment, I was like, she knew. I was like, she knew that I wanted this. She knew that that she could do this for me, and she did, even though she didn't have to. And I was like, that's enough to get it started. That's when I knew that the feelings were like, they were there. It was something as simple as that I was like, she's a good person and she's good to me. And that's all I ever really wanted. So yeah, that's super fucking basic.
Oh man.
Also every morning I know that I love you.
That's actually pretty gross. I look disgusting in the morning. I wake up and I don't want to look in the mirror.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Trying to make the end of your podcast episode wholesome and good, and you're like, I hate myself. Oh man.
You know, there are some good days, you know,
Yeah.
that I like myself. Um, yeah. Anyway, would you like to say anything before we close out the episode?
Um, yeah, I will. Talking about careers and being breadwinners and getting big as an author. Um, hopefully, because I said this out loud, uh, Mishi will have a link plugged in the description of this video for my website. You should come check it
Mhm.
out. I write fantasy novels. I got a new one that I'm working on. It should be out within a couple months. Of hopefully within a couple months. Maybe that might be a little overstepping. I'm not certain of the timeline, but it shouldn't be out too long after this episode is released. And you can keep track of the timeline by looking at my site. I'll be posting updates there on the continued progress of the book. I would love it if as many people as possible could get on that. If you know friends who like fantasy, send them the link as well. It would be very, very helpful to me as an author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will plug your website. I'll plug your Instagram because I am in charge of your Instagram.
Yeah, it's a great account.
I will share it as much as I can.
I appreciate it. I know you will. Thank you.
All right. On that note, thank you so much everyone for listening and basically putting up with I think this is almost a 2-hour episode. So if you stuck around until the end, you are amazing. I hope you have a wonderful day. And do something for yourself. Go buy yourself a bath bomb and treat yourself to a bath. If you're afraid of water, get some sunlight, go outside and bathe in the sun. Check out littledaggeraesthetics.com, follow us on Instagram, make an account on the website. I started actually putting up some like small business reviews. There's some more listings coming up. It's growing and I want y'all to be a part of it. Other than that, go also pet a dog. And I hope a dog smiles at you. All right.
Right.
It's not sending my message.
Yes, we still in it.